Well, I'm on the side of the road, and there's something beautiful and valuable here on the side of the road that I've got to stop and harvest some of it. And it's the beautiful goldenrod. And so I'm going to put the phone down and just cut off a couple of these beautiful goldenrod heads and throw them in my car, because these are excellent medicine. So here's the beautiful goldenrod that I harvested yesterday. I put it in this container, and it doesn't have any water in it because I'm going to dry this goldenrod for use this year, and I did not want to put any water in it. I want it to go ahead and start its drying process. So there's no water in this vessel that I've got the goldenrod in. It's just the beautiful goldenrod. Now, it's not as bright yellow as it was yesterday because it started its drying out process. So it's a little turning a little dark today. And I am going to go ahead and take a sprig of this out. Let me just get a small sprig here. Might have to use the scissors to cut it off. But I'm just going to go ahead and get a little sprig of this goldenrod. And I'm going to bring it over here and make tea out of it this morning. So I've brought my little sprig of goldenrod over here, and I'm just going to cut it up in this little bowl that I've got, because I'm going to make tea out of it this morning. Goldenrod is an excellent medicinal herb that you can harvest. It's plentiful. You probably see it everywhere. You probably see it where you're at. These bright yellow flowers there on the side of the road that are like this. They're like little spikes of flowers, and that's why they're called goldenrod. Now, what part of the goldenrod do you use? You use any of the part that's from the ground up. So you would use the stem, the leaves, and the blooms, or the flowers on a goldenrod. That's the part you use. We don't use the root. Now, I'll just cut it up in small pieces. I'm going to put it in this tea ball and diffuse it and make a good tea out of it this morning. Now, my very first video on YouTube was goldenrod. That's how much it means to me. That's how much we use it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add black tea because it's morning time here for me. And I enjoy black tea. I love it. That's what I drink in the morning. So I'm going to add that with my goldenrod infusion. I'm just going to pack my little diffuser full here. It's probably around a teaspoon that I'm putting in here. And I'm going to put this in it and pour the boiling water over it. And I'm going to let this tea diffuse for about 10 to 20 minutes. I'm going to let it diffuse in here. Now, I've made one ahead right here. I've already got one here that I've diffused, and it's been diffusing for about 20 minutes. And that's what I'm going to drink this morning. And of course, I'll get to this one a little later. As I was saying, my very first video on YouTube was telling you about goldenrod. Goldenrod, if you want to go back to that video, my very first video, that's exactly what it was on. Now, I'm an Appalachian American. We grew up using goldenrod. You might see other Appalachian channels, and they might be telling you about their experiences with goldenrod. Because it was a big part of our medicinal apothecary. It's something we kept on hand so that we could use it. And what goldenrod is really good for is sinus infections, like congestion, that you have in your, you might get when you have, if you pick up a virus or something. And it's good for urinary tract infections because goldenrod is a diuretic. It flushes you out. And so anytime you make a tea with a goldenrod, It's really going to flush you out and keep inflammation and keep things from settling in your urinary tract that would cause further illness. It's an antiviral and an antibacterial. So it's an excellent herb, so readily available. Now, the one that I harvested, the one you saw me get from the side of the road, and the one I have here that's drying, is the one in the same. Well, it's Solidago canadensis. That's the kind of goldenrod that I have here. There are 100 to 200 different varieties of goldenrod. It's common in every country in the northern hemisphere and in some southern hemisphere countries. So it's a common plant, readily available, easy to identify, and easy to harvest. There are no known side effects of this goldenrod, this herbal remedy, except that it's a diuretic. Now, you know I'm not a doctor. I don't practice medicine in any way. I'm sharing with you my experience with this herb that we've used since as long as I can remember. I'm an Appalachian American. We relied heavily on herbal remedies and things that we could forage around where we lived. And so my ancestors knew all about these. Native ancestors know all about the goldenrod, all about herbal remedies. And so I'm sharing what I know of that with you. And then I did some research so that I could be sure of what I was sharing with you. So my background, I'm an Appalachian American background, and my research that I've done on this herb is what I'm sharing with you today. Now, before you take this supplement, before you add this supplement to your diet or to your apothecary, to your routine, check with your professional healthcare provider. I am not a professional healthcare provider, and you want to check with the one that knows you the best, the provider that knows your medical history and knows the medication that you're on, because this is a diuretic. And if you were already taking a diuretic, if you were taking a medication that was a diuretic, you would not want to add this to it. It may have adverse reactions with the medication you're taking. You know your individual health and your healthcare provider, and of course how to research what you need for yourself. That's your responsibility to take care of your own self. I'm not in any way trying to give you any kind of medical advice. I'm just sharing with you about this wonderful medicinal herb that's prolific and available to most everybody. It's easy to use, and it's just a supplement that if you feel some things coming on, you can do to ease that. You know, sinus congestion, allergies is actually known to relieve allergies. And that's one of the really fascinating things about goldenrod. There have been no reports of any kind of overdose of this herbal supplement. So you can rest assured that it's a strong and potent herb for to help you and aid you, but it's not harmful to most people. So that's an excellent thing to know. Now, goldenrod and ragweed bloom at about the same time. And so right now, as you're driving down the highway or wherever you live, you may be able to look out and see a lot of goldenrod, or when you go down the highway, you'll see this beautiful goldenrod, this bright yellow all up and down the highway. You can see it in vacant lots. It grows in wherever it can grow. But the thing about it is ragweed is also blooming at this time. And the thing about the difference in ragweed and goldenrod is ragweed, you won't be able to see the bloom. It doesn't have a flashy, bright yellow bloom like goldenrod, but it grows where goldenrod grows. Ragweed is highly, there are people that are highly allergic to ragweed. It's a well-known allergy-inducing plant, ragweed. Well, it's growing at the same time as goldenrod in the same locations where goldenrod grow. And a lot of people want to blame the allergy on the goldenrod. And that's not true. There are very, really never heard of a case where anybody was allergic to goldenrod. Very rare to be allergic. That's how great this plant is. It's an anti-allergen. Actually, it helps you with your allergies. It's so many good things to it. I've got a list here I have to refer back to. Not only is it a potent healer, it's a potent medicine in a lot of ways. It's a diuretic. I've explained that to you. It will flush out fluids from your body. And it helps with urinary tract infections, bladder, anything to do with your urinary tract. Inflammation, it cleans out things so that they can't sit in there and become inflamed and cause further infection and things going on in your body. It's good to cleanse out candida. If you have mouth issues, if you have any kind of mouth sores or mouth issues, it's really good to make a infusion out of this dried goldenrod and use that as a mouthwash, as a gargle to soothe sores and things that are in your mouth. It's slightly astringent. It's going to clean a little bit, but it's not going to. It's not real invasive. It's not real burning and harmful. It's a gentle astringent. So you can even make an infusion and maybe just wash down an area. Say if you have a rash or something that needs a gentle astringent, this would be a good thing to use. It's antiviral, antifungal. It's good. It's a respiratory herb. It's good for irritable bowel and hemorrhoids, fungal infections, and that's really what it's really good for. Now you can make a tincture out of this. You can make tea. You can make an infusion, from alcohol or oil. You can use oil to infuse, and that would be an excellent thing to either make salve out of or just use the oil to rub on irritated skin and use those mild astringent properties. Now, one of the most drawbacks to goldenrod, I guess the only drawback that it would really have is with it being a diuretic and it flushing things out of you, there might be a chance that if you drink an immense amount of it, if you drink a lot of it, an extreme amount of it, it could dehydrate you. So if you're drinking a lot of goldenrod tea, then you want to make sure to drink more liquids behind that, such as, water or, just tea that doesn't have goldenrod in it, so that you can give yourself time to rehydrate. If it's flushing out things from your body to keep them from setting in there and becoming infected, then you'll want to make sure you have plenty of water so that it has something to flush through you and that you don't get dehydrated. Dehydration can be very serious. And of course, you want to take as good of care of yourself as you possibly can. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful herb. I'm telling you, it's got so many benefits and really no adverse drawbacks to it, that is so worth harvesting, drying, and using. And it's something that we've used growing up, so it's a very familiar remedy. If I feel any kind of irritation in a UTI of any kind, if there was a slight burning or slight discomfort, then I'm going to drink this goldenrod tea, because that'll help with that. Now, I used to, when I became a young adult, and I wasn't on the mountain, or I didn't, I just was trying other things, and I thought, well, there's plenty of other things that I can try, that'll work. But to be honest, this is the best, the simplest, the easiest to obtain home remedy to help with a UTI infection that I've ever come across. Now, you can mix this with cranberry juice. You can mix your goldenrod tea with cranberry juice, and that'll be an added benefit to your urinary tract if you're dealing with issues on that. And mainly, 99% of the time, if I'm going to use goldenrod, I'm going to make a tea. That's just the easiest way for me to consume it. It's the easiest way to get it in my system, and it's what I do 90% of the time. I do make a tincture I take goldenrod and pack my jar 2/3 full, and I cover it with alcohol, um, at least 80% or 80 proof alcohol. I cover my herb to the top of the jar and put the lid on and make a tincture. And to use a tincture, you would just use 2 or 3 drops 3 to 4 times a day. So that's pretty easy. That would be something if you didn't like tea. There are some people that just don't want to drink herbal teas. They don't enjoy them, uh, and they just, that's not their preference to get the supplement. So if you're one of those people and you don't like tea, you can make a tincture. And if you can't have alcohol, and that's not something that you want in your diet, you can certainly make a glycerite. Use glycerin, 2/3 cup of your jar full of dried herb, or even dried herb. Then you could put your glycerin over it to the top of the jar, and then that would make a glycerite. And you can do that 2 or 3 drops, 2 or 3 or 3 to 4 times a day, and that would help your sinus infection, allergy relief, UTIs, other minor things. You could even rub that on your arms or rub that on your body as an astringent, soothing ointment or oil. Like, you can even make ointment out of it. If you make an oil infusion, if you take the dried herb and put it in a jar and cover it with oil, the oil that you usually use, olive oil or fractionated coconut oil, any oil that you normally use on your skin, you can cover this goldenrod with it, and it will infuse. Give it 3 to 4 months and let it infuse really well, and then you can use that to rub on your body, or even to make an ointment from. So there's many ways to use this wonderful herb, and it's so easy. It's so easy to just obtain it. Donald and I have friends that have property, and it's just all over one of their lots, and so we have gone there and harvested big 55-gallon trash bags. We have harvested 2 of those and dried that goldenrod out and made different things so that we would have them in the years to come, or up ahead. Like right now, if you were to make an oil infusion out of this goldenrod, it would take you about 3 to 6 months to get an infusion from your dried herb. So say I'm harvesting this herb now, I'll hang it up to dry. It won't take it long to dry, maybe a week at the most. This will be dry, and I can go ahead and make my infusion. But I'll have to let that infuse for 3 to 6 months, and so it wouldn't be ready to use probably this season when you're having a lot of viruses around, a lot of colds and flus and different things that you would need your tincture or your infusion for. Now is the time to make it. You want to go ahead and get your infusion started, and then you'll probably use this next year. So I have last year's tincture and infusions and dried herb that I'm using for tea, and this year's I'll just go ahead and hang it up and let it dry for a week, and I'll process it. And by that I mean I'll just take the leaves off and the blooms and cut them up in small pieces so they'll fit in a little tea diffuser, and it'll be ready to make tea. I'll store it in a canister or a bag, a plastic bag, and I'll have it when I need it, because I've already processed it and I have it on hand. But it's a little, you have to have a little forethought in getting it ready so that you'll have it when you need it. Rarely, if you get sick later in the season and the goldenrod is already bloomed and gone, you couldn't go out and forage it because it would already be dried up and gone for the season. So you want to get it now, prep it, dry it, and get it ready to do whatever you're going to decide to do with it. Dry it and cut it up to make tea with, or your tincture. Pack your jar 2/3 full of dried herb, and then cover it with either alcohol or drinkable alcohol. I mean something like vodka, and you would only take that tincture 2 or 3 drops as a dose. That would be your dose. So it's not like you're drinking. You're not drinking. It's like a medicine. It's like a supplement to help you heal through your virus or your allergy or your UTI or your lung irritation, whatever is going on with you. That goldenrod will ease that. So as an herbal supplement, you want to just make a tincture and take 2 or 3 drops 3 or 4 times a day to ease that discomfort. But you want to go ahead and get that tincture made in a timely manner so that's infused and ready to use when you need it. And say if you're deciding to use an over the counter remedy, you can just run to the drugstore and pick that up, or have somebody run to the drugstore and pick that up for you. When you're using a natural herbal remedy, a supplement of herbs in your apothecary, in your medicine cabinet, you'll want to make sure you have that prepared in a timely manner so that you have it ready when you need it. And that's a little key thing that you have to do. And remember, when you drink your goldenrod tea, it's 3 or 4 cups a day. There's no overdose over it. There's never been an overdose of goldenrod tea. No adverse reactions are recorded for goldenrod. And you'll find that out when you do your research. You'll find out that there's, that very few people ever have a problem with taking the supplement goldenrod. Now you can grind this goldenrod up to very small particles and put it in a capsule, or you can buy that from health food stores and other places that sell goldenrod as a supplement, and you can take goldenrod that way, just capsule form, dried, and use that as a supplement to get all the benefits that I've stated to you above. You can do that if that's a simpler way. If you don't want to deal with a tincture, alcohol, or a glycerite with glycerin, or drink a cup of tea 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, if that's not what you enjoy, if you just want to do one dose and get it over with at a time, I think the capsules you would also take 3 to 4 times a day to get that in your system. But you just you can grind it up very, very fine in a mortar and pestle, or you can just grind it, cut it up really fine with the scissors and put it in a gel capsule and take it that way. So that's an alternative to using your dried herb that you wouldn't have to do a lot of work. It wouldn't take a lot of work to make a goldenrod capsule. Well, I wanted to share it with you. It was just so important. It was just such an important herbal remedy to have on your apothecary. Very budget friendly. I mean, I foraged my goldenrod from a pretty good area that I knew that wasn't high traffic, and that it was basically clean, just a clean area. And that's, just about 14 or 15 feet off of the road, away from the road. If you can forage behind that line, that way you're not so close to the road that there's a lot of stuff flying on it. And you can tell when you go and harvest it if it's clean or not. And just try to find an area that's clean, or even a friend that's got a vacant lot or has it growing near their house. Just get permission from them to just go pick. Most people do not care. It's prolific. You can take all you want. It's not like you're going to keep anything from continuing to grow. It's a prolific herb, easy to access, very reliable, very safe as far as herbal remedies go, with no known overdoses or adverse reactions, no allergens. Very few have ever been reported, if any. And so it's an excellent choice, especially if you're just beginning into the herbal supplement area and you're starting to want to try things that are more natural and things that you can easily access. This is an excellent beginning herb to try. And so I wanted to share with you again I wanted to share the goldenrod with you again because it's such a valuable medicinal herbal remedy or herbal supplement that's easy to obtain. And you might want to consider trying it and do your research. Research for yourself. Nobody knows you like you know you and your healthcare provider. You know the medications you're taking. You know the issues that you're dealing with. You know everything that's going on with you. And so this might not be a right fit for you, and you want to research and make sure, but it might be the perfect fit for you. So just do your research, know yourself and your own health situation, and talk to your healthcare professional. Most healthcare professionals do not mind you using an herbal supplement that would help your body naturally. Now, because this herb is good for inflammation and it's a mild astringent, it just helps just cleanse. It's basically just cleansing you. And so that's good to know, that you're putting something good in your body to help your body along. Well, I thank you for joining me today. Thank you for letting me share with you my love and my knowledge of this great, this herbal supplement. Thank you for allowing me to do that and to share with you how I get mine. I forage. We are foragers. We certainly are. We're lucky enough to have friends and family that have land where we're able to go and do that. We are here on a small lot, so we can only grow so much. We can only grow a few things that we need. I do not have goldenrod growing in my garden, but I do want goldenrod in my perennial garden. So Donald says tomorrow maybe we'll go foraging and dig up a few roots. While this goldenrod's in bloom, we can dig up a few roots and add them to our garden, and the next year we'll have our own little patch of goldenrod. We won't harvest it the first year, but thereafter we'll probably have plenty, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to add it to my garden and maybe not have to go anywhere to forage, but be able just to walk out into the yard and get what I need for the year. So it's an exciting thing for me. I've enjoyed sharing with you this great Solidago canadensis goldenrod herb with you, and sharing all of its medicinal uses as such a beneficial herb. And I just feel like celebrating it today. I feel like celebrating this wonderful herb. And every time I go up and down the road and I see it all around at this time of the year, it's fall, and that's one of the things that make me think of fall. It's beautiful, and it's that bright yellow, and it's prolific, and it's all up and down the roads, and it's just, I think, not only is it beautiful, we can enjoy that beauty as we ride up and down the road, but it's so helpful. It's such a helpful medicinal herb. And I wonder how many people know how helpful this herb is. I had several people honk at me while I was harvesting this herb. And I was thinking, well, hey, maybe they know the benefits of this herb. Maybe they know the benefits of goldenrod, and that's why they're honking. So I just gave them a thumbs up. Because yes, I was out there harvesting this delicious, beneficial, beautiful goldenrod. Well, that's all I have to share with you about it today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something, or I inspired you in some way to think about an herbal supplement that might help you with a UTI, an allergy, or a sinus infection, that minor discomfort, or maybe for your arms or your body if you have an irritation, and you can make a mild astringent out of it. I hope I've encouraged you to do that, to make use. And if nothing else, I've encouraged you to look at that goldenrod on the side of the road with a different view. That would be an accomplishment, that we would have an appreciation for the things that are around us, and that have many uses maybe that we're not aware of. Thank you for joining me, and like always, until next time.